Yep. Bicarbonate interferes with the availability of iron to some plants, probably our CPs. But I had a quick flick through this. This is Down Under Gardening, and I couldn't find a list on the page of the all the so-called fertilisers that there is in growing media for ornamental plants and turf. Unfortunately, the book is now in the lockup for a while until next year. So on that page, it had a list of all the various fertilisers. Really big, quite substantive list, including the active ingredient for Miracle Grow, and Down Under Gardening by Kevin Handrett. So I think he did this before. Down Under. I think he did this before. Better soils and potting mixes for better gardens. I think he did this before he did growing media for ornamental plants and turf, which is a more substantial book. But put that to one side. The reason we're doing that, of course, just take the lid off on the big box here. Various. Oh yes, gone but not forgotten. Eric Green, and of course the late Phil Mann, of course. As I said, I got my first plants in Western Australia from Phil Mann. I visited him 2 consecutive Sundays, exactly 1 month apart. And in the intervening time, he'd gone down to Albany. And the second visit, he'd come back with some roots of Cephalotus, and he gave me some of those as well. Where is it? Let me see what we got. 1982, I think it is. If we can get down to one. Okay, where is? I think it's this one, isn't it? Yeah, this one here, I think. Okay, let's have a sit down and a bit of a cup of coffee. Put our feet up as we do, and somewhere in here, Tissue Culture by Bill Carroll. Now, this article came out in the early 80s, so this is like 35 years ago. And it was all the rage at the time. It was really quite a buzz. People were impressed not by the fact that he was doing the tissue culture. It was the way, the resulting plants he grew. And of course, the word came out. He just said he was using 1/4 liquid fertiliser. I think he said 1/4 strength of liquid fertiliser. And of course, there was such a demand. What was this fertiliser and blah blah. And in subsequent articles, which I probably haven't got my fingers on at the moment, he came out and mentioned it was this thing, new thing back then called Miracle Grow. So he's using 1/4 strength Miracle Grow to what do they call it? When you take plants out of tissue culture and plant them on, sort of thing. Probably plant them on, and of course, I don't know back then if people actually knew what the active ingredient was, but as in this list of fertilisers in this Kevin Handrett book, it actually lists, thing. And if you go on the website, I think on the boxes these days, they actually say, the active ingredient is such and such. And I reckon people, if they struggled to find out what this active ingredient was, maybe they went out and bought a whole dustbin load of it, thinking they were going to corner the market, sort of thing, and were probably sorely disappointed, and probably thinking this bloke was telling them bullshit or something. But I don't think he was. I don't think the horticultural industry in general plays with a straight back, basically. Sort of half telling, half. It's like half porky sort of thing. So So what else have we got in here? Other stuff. Victorian Cannabis Plant Society stuff. That's a good one. Oh, that's Joshua Regia. Okay. Well, they call this the King Sundew, but because if you've ever seen Joshua Gigantea going on deep sand, you'll know which one exactly really is the King of Sundews. Yeah, it's like a bloody small Christmas tree. It used to come up to my nipple height as a early, almost young teenager sort of thing. So yeah, at Cannington Swamp, going on deep sand. None of this granite apron, 2 inches, 2 centimetres of soil rubbish. Yeah. Anyway, So I'll just have a quick sip of my coffee, put it out of the way just in case it's one of those days. And today's idea is to take this one and actually add it to the bucket, which I'll probably do now. Let's make sure we've got a full battery. Yep. Nothing worse than getting right to the point in the thing and everyone say, oh, that's fantastic, and then the battery runs out or something. So we can yeah. We can screw this on. Screwing on, not queuing on, but screwing on. I think he's going to screw them. Yeah, the whole internet is fired up with this queuing on business, so I definitely reckon that means that Hillary's definitely going to prison. They said they had to turn back some plane out of LAX and put everyone on the LAX had to sign a secrecy form, because that won't last long. Was that Hillary Clinton trying to fly out and escape in the clutches of the old Donald? No, Hillary, you're going to prison. The Bible says it's okay to give and receive 10% of anything. How much did you actually give to the people of Haiti? No, you're going to prison. Yeah. Oh, you definitely are. There you go. So how much did they get? What did they get? $1 billion or something for Haiti or something? And they kept 96% of it. No, Hillary. So you're going to prison. Just accept it. You're spending the rest of your life in jail. Yeah, probably better to top yourself now, because it's freezing all the assets of these people. Can you imagine you go to your bank account and Hillary goes to her bank account, or hubby does, and the cupboard was bare. Can you imagine that? Oh jeez, wouldn't we all love to be a fly on the wall when that happens? How much did you have in the bank account yesterday? Hills, probably calls it Hills for short. Oh, we had about so many billion in there. Now there's nothing there. Oh, yeah, Comey's going to prison. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, Jesus, talk about that collusion and corruption. Oh, fucking, doesn't he realise he's spending the rest of his life in jail? That's if he survives. I mean, he might actually be bumped off by the rest of the FBI, but no, I don't think so. They probably need the scapegoat just to be on the safe side. No, it definitely wasn't me, sir. No, sir, not me, sir. It was definitely Comey. I mean, you can understand if it was a bald guy, they'd be calling him Comey as a bit of irony, but no. Maybe it's a wig he's wearing or something. I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, time to do the old pause bucketus. Bucketus of pause. See how we go. Whoa. We love a good pour in the morning. Okay. Oh, this is with the 4 litres, 2 lots of 4 litres of sand, and it's still, I think, going over halfway. So quite interesting. So there's a lot of components and method in my madness. So we'll see how this one goes. But hopefully we've actually made the active ingredient in this one. We had a chemical reaction and we've actually made the active ingredient in Miracle Grow sort of thing. So that's the idea anyway. Because as I said, I don't think the horticultural industry actually plays with a straight bat. So what they say on the packet is actually, saying this is the active ingredient sort of thing, or what people think is the active ingredient. I don't think it's quite strictly true. Very close, but not quite. And if you went out and actually got the active ingredient that's listed on the packet in bulk and tried it out, it wouldn't work. And there are reasons why it wouldn't work. So, but then again, if this works, we've hit the nail on the head sort of thing. It's a bit like those, you go out to these places, you show these photographs in Florida and things of things growing on almost pure white sand, and you think, how can that be? Because as we know from that little statement, that little diagram in the book, humus can actually hold all the all the micronutrients and things like that. But so I assume it's the CP tannin cycle going through the flowing through the sand that's attached to that, to the CP tannins, all the micronutrients that it requires. Of course, what are CP tannins, and can we actually make them? Can we actually attach the micronutrients to the so-called CP tannins? So we'll see. Anyway, yeah, it's getting like that. Anyway, see how we go. Continue on. See if we can get a... Oh, did I lever it properly? Oh, I think I probably didn't do it beforehand. No, looks like I'm going to have to level it at a later date. But anyway, yeah, I think I need to level the bucket a little bit more. But anyway, that's about it for now. I've still got... Again, I've still got about a litre there. About a litre, I reckon that's about a litre. Oh, am I still on spot colouring? Oh well, these things happen. Just go and wash my hand. Okay, so that's about it. It's still sintering, as you can probably see. Well, we are on spot colouring, we can get out a nice. Now hopefully we're just getting fluid out the base there and down the side. Yeah, nice little screenshot down there. Yep, it's dripping now. Look at that there, it's flowing. Got a bit of flow. Let's just take this off and see if I can. I need a quick release. Good. I think better than that. These camera people need to do a lot of work on some of the basics, I reckon. Yeah, there are improvements there to be made, fellas. Just as in my own field here, improvements definitely indeed there to be made. So after this one, I'll put some of these other CPs in. I mean, this is alive, so is it going to green? Is it going to Eric Greeny Eye up in a few days' time? And are we going to get some growth? If we get some growth, substantial growth there, I'll plant a few more plants, and after that I'll go for the full bucket. But I only want to go for the full bucket if there's, we got some progress sort of thing. So, I mean, if that leaf starts to, really well, fatten up and develop, or we get sudden growth with maybe a concomitant greening or something. This one isn't dead, but again, the copper does seem to put like a little bit of a straitjacket on the plants or anything. So how does it work, fellas? If we can work out. And what was I thinking about copper the other day? Oh yeah, apart from we know that over here somewhere, we know that copper and cobalt react very similarly, as you can see with that one in there. Nice colour, has changed slightly in colour over time. So yeah, if you've read your various articles in your journals sort of thing, there are actually bushes and trees over there that actually accumulate cobalt in the Dione country sort of thing. So you guys are saying, well, if they're able to accumulate cobalt, there must be cobalt in the soil. But I think it's a bit of a side issue, red herring sort of thing. So I don't think it's that, because if it acts like copper, then it's going to be negative like copper. From memory, I think cobalt is worse than copper. My memories are fading. So yeah, this one's starting to make a move, but it's a bit late, and the plants have been set back so far waiting for this greening to occur. Yeah, I definitely think the sulphur is definitely a problem. So all this, you should be using a sulphur fungicide and things like that. I'm thinking maybe that's a bit of misdirection there, I don't know. Yeah, they want to put your plants in a straitjacket so they don't do anything. I don't know. Seems that way. I don't think the horticultural industry plays with a straight bat. Only when you have fly traps with 4-inch traps, growing very fast, very big and very colourfully, will we, the horticultural industry actually start playing with a straight bat. Mainly because I think, back in the 90s I was selling, 10 million fly traps a year. The bat now it's probably up to 50 million by now every year. I mean, they're not selling each of those fly traps for €1 each, are they? I mean, tell me how much they're selling for. And no one seems to, have a complete backyard full of fly traps because they don't kill anything. So it'd be different if this house, you go to the house next door, another backyard full of fly traps. All these 50 million fly traps a year that's going out in Europe are actually surviving. I mean, 50 million, can we? Surely eventually someone who's collecting these plants is going to have a backyard full up of these plants. I know, wishful thinking, the king of wishful thinking. I don't think it's going to survive, but at least it's, it's had a good 2 weeks or so. Not bad, I suppose. Eventually, I think we'll end up with growing something in the front garden, but, there's the, let's take this off and go for a bit of close-up spot colour. I think we are on spot colour, but I better check. Yeah, I think we are. Yeah. But the sun's not really out today, so somewhat of a gloomy day today. That's why I'm only 5 right in the colour grid and 4 down. Normally on a really bright sunny day now, with experience, I would be 5 notches down in darkness and 6 right. Whether this thing over here is actually going to make a bud and actually strike would be interesting. But this, have you noticed, this seems to have like slowed down. Whether it's the iron in it, I don't know. We had that sunny luxuriant confluence of lawn, and then it really took off, and now it's like slowed down, and I'm not really too happy about these either. Okay, I mean, they're not even matching the coil one out the front, which I'll probably take you through in a minute. This is interesting because this one's actually greening. So we suddenly get substantial growth in this one. Well, that will be a bit of an eye opener, I reckon. Yeah. And what is that thing in there? It's almost taking on a glaucous look. So you never know. We might eventually find out how to actually make a blue fly trap. I don't know, but I suspect from the Mug's Law says it's going to come from a totally different avenue. I don't think it's going to. Let's go to normal focus, and we'll just take you out and finish off out here while that's draining, and then I've got to level it up and brim it, and then let it settle in. So I think, and then flush it, and then be off and running. So I think these are starting to go, fellas. I think these are going. So as we head, so we're like the last week of the year now, so we're heading towards the new year, which is on Sunday. So another couple of days and we'll be in the new year. And after that we'll basically have 7 weeks to the 3rd week of February, which is probably when I'm going to fry an egg on the sidewalk for you, because I don't think you really quite understand how intense our Aussie sunlight really is down here in the land down under. And oh, by the way, that bloke, CP bloke, friend of Gideon's, he goes out swamp hunting. I've got a trapdoor spider there, and at night time he comes out. You can see him at the front of the tunnel. I might want to try and lure him out or something. Hopefully it's not a Sydney funnel web, because I reckon it does seem to have really, what looks like sharp pincers on the front. They reckon the Sydney funnel web can actually go through your boot, a steel-capped boot. They can punch in, cans of baked beans and things like that to get sustenance if they want. Not too impressed. Not too impressed at all. And what's that doing in there? And so we got this strange bare patch over here, when originally we had the bare patch there, which is, I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how we go. So, this other thing here, there's really dark patch of sagey green. Really dark green cyanophyta there. I don't know if some bird picked it up, or there was a bit of heavy rain or something washed it out, but it was more obvious. So that's between the newspaper cellulose and the bark chip sort of thing. So yeah, this one in here sort of making more red goodness send down there. So I don't know if we get some new growth out of it. This one in here is oh no, but I've noticed the weed, the CP weed. I think this is a dandelion. He's actually some of these are starting to make a move there, so there's something going on there.